Hello and welcome to Unit Review, where we aim to discuss a unit's strengths and weaknesses, help you use that unit better in game, but also help you to counter and defeat that unit if you're playing against it. This week we're going to start off with the Necron unit, the Canoptek Reanimator. Jack's done some fantastic work looking at this unit, so let's dive straight in.
Yeah, absolutely. So this unit is I guess you can think of it as a Necron support unit.
Yes.
Now, initially it costs 75 points. Now, it depends on how you use it and how you get the most out of those points is kind of where it really shines. So the stat block that we've got, movement-wise, it has an 8-inch move, which is, well, that's it. So it's really good. It's quite fast compared to a lot of Necron units, basically allowing you to get around the board and I guess getting into those right positions to be able to support those units that kind of need that reanimation.
Yes, because that's it needs that movement because its main focus is to add additional reanimation, so bring back more models or more wounds, isn't it?
Exactly right. Yes. So the ability that it's got is basically brings back D3 extra wounds back to each individual unit within 3 inches. So that 8-inch move is required to be able to basically get ahead of the party or kind of get ahead of your army or maybe be a bit more defensive and kind of hide yourself because that's the main goal.
What you're trying
really
to look at is get into cover so you can't be shot behind obscuring, so you can't be shot, but within 3 inches. Now this aura it was a bigger than 3 inches when it came out, wasn't it?
Yes, it was 12 inches when it first came out.
So yeah, it's like a 75% drop.
Which is why a lot of people aren't seeing it being played at the minute because going from a 12-inch aura to a 3-inch aura, I think not a lot of people know how to play it properly now. They relied on that extra range.
It was even a monkey brain player like me could do it when it was 12 inches because it was fairly forgiving.
Yeah,
and it probably was a bit too big.
Well, exactly.
3 inches is a very narrow, limited area. I would have liked to have seen 6 inches.
6 inches would have been a nice middle ground for sure. Yeah.
So that's your extra D3. So that's if you can still position it, you've got to think about it carefully.
Yeah.
Position it right, and you can keep those Necrons even more resilient.
Exactly.
And speaking of resilience,
so the toughness and the saving throw of this model as well. So its toughness is 6 inches. Toughness 6.
Yes.
With most weapons in theory will be hitting on 4s or 5s with
you're going to be winning 4s and 5s off your like bolt guns and things like that. And that's okay if you can get. But save-wise, it's got a 3-up save, which is okay. Again, that's okay.
3-up save, yep, really nice.
Small arms, it's going to be all right. But this is the kicker. It's also got
a 4-up feel no pain.
Yes.
So even if you do get through, the toughness, turn 6, 3-up save, get through. Right, well, it now has a 4-up feel no pain. So
I love what you put in the notes. It's got like a few tricks up its metallic sleeve.
Yes,
I've done this in game when it first came out. Like I think I played against a game. I think it was against Jared, and it just spiked my 4-up feel no pain.
Yeah.
It just took a long time to die.
It's hard. When people slow rollers, I feel like it's like every time I get slow rolled, well, that's
slow rolled,
it.
you're going to say, yeah.
It's horrible. And obviously, if it does get through, you got to get through 6 of those. So 6 wounds it has.
Yes.
Which is it's not too bad for a walker.
I mean, if you look at if you're watching us on YouTube, there's a couple of examples of these beautifully painted models by Jack on the table, and we'll do some close-ups on screen for you as well. But 6 wounds feels about right for the size and scale of it, doesn't it?
It does.
It's not a big chonker like a Doomstalker, but it's bigger than a Locust Heavy Destroyer, for example. So it feels about right.
Exactly right.
And obviously, it gets reanimation itself. So if you only chip a few wounds off, then guess what? It's going to get them back.
Exactly right. So you need to kind of do.
Does it get its own aura? I guess it does, doesn't it? So
it is an aura.
So it gets its own D3.
So it could get its full wounds back in one turn.
So you can put it down to 1 and it could get them all
back up to 5. So it's another thing to keep in mind. It's horrible.
Yeah, horrible. We love it as Necron players, but playing against Necrons is nothing worse than seeing something that you've tried to kill go back up to full.
Back up to full. You're like, what was the point? My turn was wasted. But yes, obviously to finish off the stat block, we've got the leadership and the OC. Pretty bog standard for this kind of unit. 4-up leadership, quite standard.
7-up leadership and
7-up, yes.
And 3-up OC, is it?
3 OC
That's
for the unit.
Normal for a walker, isn't it?
It certainly is. Yeah, so nothing stand out, but again, still handy to have.
Yeah.
And then the ranged and melee stat block, just quite standard. To be fair, nothing. You can see this is where the points kind of don't shine basically.
Yeah,
because there's nothing
it's
to it.
not designed to kill stuff, is it? It's absolutely a supporting unit.
Yeah.
So what does it have? But it does have something. What does it have?
Yeah, so for sure. So the range weapons of it has a 12-inch range. It's the atomizer beam.
That's right. Yeah.
It has 3 attacks, hits on 4s, strength 6, -2 AP, and 1 damage. So it's not bad, but it's just like
AP2 is always decent.
Yeah.
I mean, hitting on 4s and that, but you know, you can chip a couple of infantry away, can't you?
if that, maybe 1 or 2, based on the averages. But yeah, nothing to shout home about, and there's nothing to kind of improve that as the game goes on as well. So
that's
is
as good as it gets.
Exactly right. Exactly
I mean,
right.
the only thing is if you're playing in the Canoptek Court detachment is if you're in your what's it called?
Oh, your zones kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, then you get to re-roll your hits. So
True.
That does make hitting on 4s a bit more
bit
palatable.
better. Yeah, but still not.
What about
standard.
close combat?
Again, very actually worse. To be fair, it's got 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, strength 5, no AP, and 1 damage. So
yeah,
again,
I mean,
nothing fancy.
No. Again, you might chip off the odd guardsman or something like that, but it's not going to do a great deal.
You don't want this in melee. It's the unit's primarily meant for the backfield or behind your kind of unit, or in a protected area, effectively.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what about the best way to play it then?
Yeah, so basically playing this unit, there's a couple of main reasons why you would kind of want to bring this to the table. But obviously the main reason, you don't want to be bringing it for the, as we just discussed, the shooting capabilities or the melee capabilities. That's just useless. The main reason is to bring it in is for basically its ability for the nano scarab reanimation beam ability. That is the one that basically gives you the additional D3 wounds. And again, in that 3-inch aura, being reduced from 12 to 3. Again, a lot of players don't know how to play it, but here are a couple of ways that I would see it being the most playable. The first one is you want to castle round it. So you want to maximize that ability and get as many additional D3
get as many units as possible as round it within that aura as you possibly can.
Take advantage of the 8-inch move that it has.
Yeah.
A lot of Necron units out there have a 5-inch range now.
Yeah,
5-inch movement.
Yeah.
So you basically want to be running this up, and since you're not going to be relying on its capability of shooting or melee, I would recommend always advancing this unit.
Good thinking, yeah.
You know, that's an 8-inch movement plus an additional D6. You want to get in those tight, awkward, narrow kind of areas to not get a shot.
With an 8-inch movement advance, you can if you're a good player, you should be able to cover hop, shouldn't you? So hopping from one line of sight obscuring building to the next.
Exactly.
And while still staying within your aura.
Exactly. So make sure you're sticking around this unit as much as you can, and don't forget when you are removing your models from play, because obviously you'll be targeting other units, make sure you at least keep one within the aura range.
That's a very good shout. I always forget to do that.
A lot of people do. The other really good way of playing this game or playing this unit is keeping them in the backfield. So you want to basically be keeping in the back, nice and protected behind a wall, but very close to those heavier units, such as the Doomsday Ark or the Locust Heavy Destroyers, that are the ones that are going to be doing the main shooting shenanigans.
Yes.
A squad of 3 Locust Heavy Destroyers, you might lose 2, but then you could potentially get those 2 fully back, because you're D3 plus.
You can potentially get 6 wounds back, so you can get one and a bit back. Yeah,
exactly.
So you get 2. That's a really good point. And I think something like you say with the Doomsday Ark that is already reasonably tanky.
Yes,
it makes it very difficult to kill because it's going to be getting those wounds back if your opponent doesn't focus enough fire to remove it as a threat.
Exactly. Now a couple of really good stratagems to kind of combo with this. Now there's only 2 detachments that really benefit this one primarily. Which is the Canoptek Court and the Hypercrypt Legion.
Yes.
2 ones. So going from the very first one, the Canoptek Court one, if you are fielding this one, there's a really good stratagem called Reactive Subroutines.
Oh, yes.
So this one, if a unit moves closer to you, or like if it's like a normal move, advance, or fall back move, one Canoptek unit that's within 9 inches of that enemy unit can make an additional normal move up to 6 inches.
Now this is really strong because what we've seen, we just talked about this on the main podcast that we've just recorded as well, but what we're seeing with a lot of these stratagems is its abilities is D6 inches.
Yes.
So this is the full
flat 6 range. Now the reason why this is good for is because you might have moved up your unit to go attack or get in a really good position to shoot at someone, and you've now inherently moved out of the 3-inch aura range. So using the 6-inch move to get yourself or reposition yourself.
So if your enemy gets within 9, you can then move it 6 to be back into aura range.
Exactly.
I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, it's only 1 CP as well,
Yeah.
so it's quite good to 1 CP to get an additional D3 wounds back on multiple units.
Yeah.
You know, if you get it within range of 3, then that's D9.
It's up to 9 wounds or whatever. It's
really
can
good.
make a massive difference.
Yeah. The next stratagem is in the same
Dynasty or
detachment now. It's what it's called is counter temporal shift.
Yes.
Really good stratagem. Stratagems basically help protect your reanimator if you've misplayed, so you can stop shooting. So basically, it's like, what's the word? Stealth, is it? Where it's like if you're outside
lone
of
operative.
Lone
It's
operative.
lone operative. So if you're outside of 12, you can't shoot it.
Exactly.
I
So
love that.
again, it really is good because again, if you misplay or if they get a really good targeted shot at you, use a stratagem, but you can't be shot now within 12 inches. You've saved all those wounds from impacting you now.
Yeah.
So you're going to get more of your reanimators for, again, 75 points for what it does seem a lot, but combining it with these, quite nice.
Yes. If you can, I mean, that's the reality, is to get your points back and make it count.
Yeah.
It has to either reanimate some wounds that are clutch for a big unit like a Doomsday Arc or something like that.
Exactly.
Or a big block of something like, I mean, I don't know how much warriors are now. Are they like 11 points or something each? So you'd have to reanimate like 7 warriors to get your points back.
Exactly.
So you need to keep it alive. So it's worth spending a CP to do that.
It certainly is. And then the next one, again, kind of combos quite nicely with it. Again, within the same detachment, but it's the suboptimal facade.
Yes.
Basically, this one is in your opponent's charge phase, as if if the enemy unit's declared a charge, the one Canoptek unit from your army that it was selected as the charge can do its reanimation protocols.
Ooh.
Now, the way the rule works for this Canoptek ability is that it's when a unit triggers its reanimation, not like the general command phase. So if that unit is within 3 inches of this Canoptek unit, it will also get its additional D3 more wounds back.
Right. So your opponent might think he's weak in something and goes in for the charge to finish it off, and play this strat. You've
just got like 6 more warriors back.
Yeah, you can bring up to 6. Yeah, that could make that is one of those clutch moments that we're talking about.
Exactly. Could hold down an objective at the end of the day.
That's exactly what I was thinking. So yes, for 75 points in the CP, if you either deny your opponent primary or stop them scoring a secondary, like killing you on an objective or something.
Exactly.
It's points well spent.
Yeah, really nice. Yep. And then the last stratagem that's probably worthwhile bringing is this is only inside of the Hyper-Crypt Legion this time. So basically, this unit can get a 4-up invulnerable save.
Brilliant.
So on top of its 3-up save, it's toughness 6, 6 wounds, 4-up feel no pain, it now has an additional 4-up invulnerable save.
Yeah.
So that just makes it more tanky.
Yes.
Which is, again, a really, really good.
Feels very Necron, doesn't it?
It does. Like the tankiness, the toughness. And it's just like, again, to bring out these wounds, it's what you want. It's what you want.
Yeah, these stratagems are really cool to force your opponent to either direct a lot more firepower than they wanted to eliminate something that at the end of the day is only a 75-point model.
Exactly.
Or you just have one of those epic moments where you slow roll your 4-ups.
Really grind on the other player. I'd be like, oh yeah, all day, every day. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Yeah, they're the stratagems.
Fantastic. And what about sitting on the other side of the fence? If I'm playing against Necrons, how do I counter this unit or nullify it?
Exactly. So this unit is really annoying because bringing back all those extra wounds it's just hard to traverse, and you do want to kind of deal with it as quickly as you can. But that's the main thing. As you can, because it's going to be, if you play a smart Necron player, most of the time this unit will be hidden, so you're not going to be able to get line of sight on it very easily, depending on how good the terrain is. But you will need to basically outplay the Necron player to a degree.
Yes.
Now, there's a couple of different ways. I've got about 4 different ways you could probably try to kind of out-combat this. So the first one is just remove its actual need on the battlefield. So the main one is if you're targeting a unit that's close to the Necron Reanimator, make sure that you destroy that unit in its whole, because then it won't be able to re-trigger its full reanimation protocols. So there's just no point of it actually being in that in that circle.
That's a really good point, and it's something that you should definitely consider with Necrons, full stop, particularly if you've got a Technomancer in a unit, gives them feel no pain or whatever. Make sure you delete them. That you need to be doubly sure of that if there's a Reanimator lurking, otherwise all your good work's going to be undone.
Exactly, yeah. Don't what's the word?
Split fire.
Split fire. Don't split fire with it when he's nearby. Make sure you just target the unit directly and just make it useless, basically, because that'll frustrate the Necron player as well, and that'll force him to misplay later on as well. So yeah, definitely that's the first one.
You're giving away all our secrets here.
I am, but hey, it is what it is. It's a game. I'm happy to play it.
Good.
But the next one is, it only has 6 wounds, toughness 6, 3 up save, 4 up feeling pain. Yes, it can be tough. So if you can commit to taking it out, I do recommend it. So if you do have one unit available to shoot at it, multiple units to shoot at it, make sure you've got multiple and not just the odd one, because the odd one most likely won't be able to take it out.
Yeah,
the dice are against you.
Yes, that's a really good point. You need to make sure that you've got a couple of units that can target it at least, just in case the first one doesn't do it. You've got a backup. You
do have a backup. Yeah, make sure you do have that.
Yeah, very good point.
Yeah, definitely. The third one is, most of the time this unit will be on the back of the army. Wait until the opponent moves up. So this unit will be kind of either in the middle or near the back of kind of the Necrons list. And wait until the army moves up to then have that deep strike ability to kind of get in its face.
Yes.
Because it's, as you just seen, the stat block isn't amazing. It's not tough or it's not scary to verse. If you get a very simple squad in there that even just ties it up so it can't retreat, you've narrowed it and you've kind of
it hasn't got the killing power to untie itself if you can tie it up.
So it doesn't matter if the unit that you're going to deep strike is a squad of Terminators or just a very weak arm, like a very weak list. As long as you tie it up into combat, that's the main thing. You're keeping it there. You're keeping it locked down, because the rest of the army has 2 decisions: either do I continuously move up the field and take objectives, or do I go back for this one?
Do I wait for my Reanimator? Yeah,
exactly. So
I like it.
Yeah, tie it down basically. The next one is bait your opponent into charging,
nice,
or bait them into moving more than what it should. Because since this unit only has a 3-inch aura, take advantage of it. Make sure that when you're killing off a unit, wait for them to basically pick off the units and see where he's positioning the actual unit itself.
Yeah.
Because if you move up your army and you've killed enough of this squad, well, that squad might want to charge up, and if it charges up, most charges are now like 6 to
your average charge is 7 inches or whatever, isn't it? Yeah.
So then that's already going to be out of its reanimation range. So bait the charge, kill some of the units. You might lose a few, move them into the right place, and let them move out of it.
Yeah. So you're almost like trying to lure them into that trap so that they haven't got the reanimation. And then even if you don't kill them all off, then they still their reanimation is reduced.
Exactly.
You've still weakened them.
Exactly.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. So they're the main ones.
Yeah. There's four really good ways to trying to counter that unit, and obviously some great ideas in terms of stratagems and simply play styles about how to use it. Personally, since it went down to 3 inches, my preferred way is backfield, like you were just talking about. Have it babysitting some Doomstalkers or Locust Destroyers or Doomsday Ark. Is it still getting in your list at the moment?
Not at the minute, no. Based on the list that I'm playing, when I come back to the Canoptek Court, I think that's when I'll start seeing more play of it. Me because
too.
The movement catches up with the Wraiths that's out there. They have quite a nice, decent movement and
I think
toughness unit.
If you can synergize it with Wraiths, because Wraiths are our most tanky unit, I think, particularly in that
the Technomancer.
With the Technomancer. So that's how I'm thinking about playing it as well. A bit more aggressively than I normally would, but it also requires a bit more thought.
It does. It does. But yes, that's it.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you very much. Please let us know in the comments as well how you like to use them, if we've missed anything, also which units you'd like to see next. And if you like these little short videos that we're doing, go and check out the main podcast. It's all on YouTube and the usual podcast channels. Thank you very much.